Hello, I am Colleen Delaney, and let's do a November-December combo TBR video. If you're new here, I talk about books and writing. This video is going to be about books, and usually I do my TBR by month, but it didn't seem right this time because I'm doing Nano this November, so my reading in November will probably be a little bit tinier than normal. So I'm just going to give you a real big long list of all the books I want to read before the year is out. I will probably not get to all of these. Just if I'm being honest with myself, there's a lot on here. I have a big writing month. December's always hard because the holidays / I have a kid's birthday in that month. But this is what I would, in an ideal world, like to get to. I'm going to break it up by genre. Let's start with fantasy because I think it's the one that has the most in it. Okay, so first up, we have The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro. And this is a book I just bought used recently, but I wanted to read since it came out. This takes place during Arthurian legend, which is one of my favorite time periods of like historical fantasy, I guess. And it's a really, really beautiful book with like the inside cover is absolutely gorgeous. So I am looking forward to it. You can also see what a good deal I got in this book right there. I don't know much about what it's actually about. I think it's about an elderly couple though, who are traveling. So I think there's like a journey aspect to it. So I am looking forward to reading this. It will be my first Ishiguro. I have not read anything else he has written, and I've heard he's phenomenal. And it's got a great first line, which I always think is important. You would have searched a long time for the sort of winding lane or tranquil meadow for which England later became celebrated. I like that because it's showing you that like you're not in the England that you expect. The Buried Giant. Next, I have Into the Riverlands by Nevo. Here's a picture of it. I have it on hold at the library right now. It just came out and my hold hasn't been filled yet. I think that I must be like low on the hold list because I didn't get the one copy my library had. So now I'm just waiting for someone in the consortium to return it so I can read it. And I really want to read it. This is the third book in the Singing Hills trilogy. The first one was The Empress of Salt and Fortune. The second one was When the Tigers Came Down the Mountain. I really love this series. My book club is actually doing this third book as our book in November, so hopefully I'll get it soon. But this follows, all these books follow Chi, I believe is their name. Yes, Chi, who's a non-binary wandering monk collecting stories. And so you kind of follow them as they travel around. It's like a fantasy version of Imperial China and meets lots of different types of people with great stories. I can't wait. I love Nevo. I think she's a phenomenal writer. This is going to be a good one. Next, I have The Mermaid of Black Conch by Monique Rafi. I got this from the library. One of my good friends, sorry, the glare is so bad. It's very sunny today. One of my good friends is reading this right now and told me to read it, so I'm going to. I'll probably read this one in November because it's a little bit short, and I know that I'm going to read kind of a lot of my short books in November and save my longer ones for December. But this is about a mermaid who gets turned into a human, but she doesn't want to be turned into a human. So I'm looking forward to that. I think it's going to be a cool read. It takes place in the 70s, and I think it takes place in the Caribbean, though I'm not 100% certain. Or maybe the author's from the Caribbean. Now I'm getting confused. Did I mess that up? No. The author has written other books based in Trinidad and the Caribbean. So I think this one is too. I'll let you know when I review it. Very much looking forward to it. Next, I have another Arthurian legend book, and it's Spear by Nicola Griffith. This is a really quick read. It's like 160 some pages. And this is Arthurian legend. It is women living in the woods, and that's all I know because I don't want to ruin it for myself. Honestly, I thought I was maybe going to read this in October, but then I actually decided to read a thriller instead for like my last book of the month, of this month. So this one will be a November one because I'm really looking forward to it. Next, I have The Order of the Pure Moon Reflected in the Water by Zen Cho. This is another one that my friend who's reading The Mermaid of Black Conch recommended to me. And I just have to read you the inside cover because it's phenomenal. Just like a line. It says, a bandit walks into a coffee house and it all goes downhill from there. So I know this is about a nun who like teams up with bandits to get something done, but that line made me realize that this book might be a lot funnier than I was expecting. I was picturing it to be like a little more serious, but now I think it's going to be like maybe hilarious. It's also another really quick one. I have several short fantasies on my list. This one is 155 pages. So another one, can't wait to read, probably November. I would also really, really like to read The Cloisters by Katie Hayes. here is the picture. It's dark academia and it's tarot. And I love tarot cards so much. I think they're like such beautiful art. Also really fun to work with or play with, whatever your preference is. And I, though, have so many books right now that I haven't read yet. So I'm really hoping that Book of the Month picks this as a pick because I really want to read this book, but I'm probably not going to buy it. I will get it from the library if it's not a Book of the Month pick, or maybe I'll ask for it for Christmas from one of my siblings, which actually isn't a bad idea because I really do want to read this, but I'm trying not to like purchase too many more books right now just because I have a lot of good stuff that I need to get to. And lastly, I would like to finish the Saga series. I've been reading this graphic novel series for many years, and I have 3 volumes left to read, I think, 8, 9, and 10, and I would like to finish it. It follows mainly a couple, but a bunch of other people through this like universe-wide war, and the main characters are each from a different side of the war, but they're in love, and they have a child together. And so you follow their family through a lot of basically crap they have to go through because no one thinks they should be together. But then you also follow a couple other groups of people you meet throughout their travels. It's really like space opera, like very like high sci-fi. And it's also very graphic. So if you don't like extremely violent images or extremely sexual images, then maybe this isn't the series for you. But if you like sci-fi with like a little bit of like romance in a couple that's been together for a long time, then this is for you. So let's move on to romance. I actually don't have as many romances on this list as I thought I was going to, which probably means that I'll buy some that I don't know about yet. But the first one is Resting Witch Face by Julia Cross. Here's the cover. It's not out yet. I love these books so much. You can see several of them right there. Don't fall. This is the 5th book in the series. It's Jules's book. And we've known Jules, her hero, for a long time because her hero is Ruben, and this story is going to be a second chance romance. They have been together in the past. They can't be together anymore. And now they're finally going to get there happily ever after. So I'm really looking forward to it. Honestly, the thing with Julia Cross is like, Jules isn't like my favorite sister in the group, but she's such a phenomenal writer that I know that even if I go into it like, oh, I mean, Jules, I'm sure her story will be fine, that I will absolutely love this book because she's such a good writer. So I can't wait. Witches, vampires, New Orleans, magic, wonderful. Yeah. Next, I have Small Town Big Magic by Hazel Beck. I was planning on reading this in October and I just did not get to it. This is about Emerson, who lives in a town where everything's magic, but she like failed a magic test so she can't see it. Something's gonna happen making it that she can see magic again, and the town's gonna need her. She also has this like weird relationship with her childhood best friend who's a grumpy farmer, so I'm sure they're gonna hook up. So this sounds like small town fun, magic-y, Hallmark, but I think there's like sex scenes in it. We'll see, I'll let you know. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I mean, it's definitely got like October written all over it, but I don't really have a rule on when I read my witch books. I kind of read them whenever, so I'll read this one whenever. Another book I was planning on reading in October and didn't get to is Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match by Sally Thorne. This is the story of Victor Frankenstein's sister who decides to build herself the perfect man. But once she builds the perfect man, he doesn't understand why he doesn't have a history and like has no memories, and he like is trying to figure this out, like go on a quest to figure out who he is, and she's along with him feeling really guilty that she's not telling him the truth. So I think it'll be fun. It's Sally Thorne who wrote The Hating Game. I've actually never read The Hating Game. I'm not a huge contemporary romance reader, so this one seemed way more up my alley because it's got like the fantasy element in it and like a little bit gothic. So yeah, it'll be fun. Next, I'm going to buy Lore Olympus 3, but I want the paperback, and my Target, which is where I usually get these, has only had the hardcover. So I think that I'm going to use it as like a prize when I get a certain number of words written in nano. Maybe like when I hit the halfway point, like 25,000 words, I'm allowed to get that for myself. I'll probably order it from our bookstore in town just to give them like the business, but I love these. They're so beautiful. My daughters love them so much. I was looking at the third one online like looking at the pictures, and my one daughter who's 6 was like, oh, there's another one of those blue and pink books coming out, because she just really loves the artwork. I can't wait till she's a little older. Obviously, I'm going to save them for her so she can read them because she'll love them. They're just a feast for the eyes. And then I also have 2 arcs. I have an arc called Secret Alaskan Hideaway, and it's by Karen Whiddon. And I honestly picked this arc based on the fact that it's a winter read that's not Christmassy, because I really like non-Christmassy romances that are set in winter. I just do. I'm not like a huge Christmassy romance person. Like, I don't mind watching like Hallmark movies, but like if you said like what time of year do you want your romance to take place, I'd say more like fall or summer. I don't mind other times of the year, and I obviously like winter ones, but I'm just like not a huge like holiday romance person. It's very apparent because I wrote a holiday romance series as Lucy Hudson, which I'll put the links in the description since I should be a good author and try to promote my books. But I wrote a 4th of July romance, I wrote a Halloween romance, and I wrote a Thanksgiving romance. And there's no Christmas romance in that series. So that was a long tangent to say I'm excited to read this Secret Alaskan Hideaway. Also, I think Alaska is a very cool place. I was there a long time ago on vacation and loved it, so I think it'll be fun. I also got Eva Leigh's new books, A Rogue's Rules for Seduction. I believe that's the title. And I did not read anything about it because I recently read an Eva Leigh, and I can't remember the name right now, but I'll put the cover right here. Rake something? Turning into a Rake? I can't remember, but I loved it. And so when I saw that she had a new one coming out, I was like, oh, I definitely want to read that. And I haven't read a historical romance in a while, and I really enjoy them. So that seems like a fun one to pop on my list for the end of the year. Okay, I have 2 historical fictions, and they are The Giver of Stars by Jojo Moyes. This book is about the traveling, like horseback librarians in the 1930s who lived in Kentucky and rode their horses through the Appalachian Mountains. I'm a librarian. And I like historical fiction that's not set in World War II. And so I'm really excited to read this one. It's a little long. I think I might read this one over like winter break when my kids don't have school and my husband usually takes a week off of work, and we all just like put a fire in the fireplace like every day and just eat, you know, cookies and cheese and chips for our meals throughout the day and just hang out in here, and it's awesome. So I think I might save this to read then. My other historical fiction is The Fifth Mountain by Paulo Coelho. And this one, I wasn't exactly sure where I was going to put it in terms of like genre. I settled on historical fiction because it takes place in the 9th century BC, and it's about the prophet Elijah like fleeing his captors and then like being part of a found family with a widow and her child, who I think is a baby. But his books tend to be kind of allegorical, so I don't know if it will sort of like toe the line of fantasy, but we'll see. I'm not sure. It's another quick one, so I might try and read this one in November. I'm only reading short books in November. Yeah, 240. That's not that long. But I really love The Alchemist. I really love Brida. I liked The Valkyries. I liked The Witch of Portobello. So this is what's up next. Next, I have my contemporary fiction, and I have 2. The first one is Migrations by Charlotte McConaughey. And I'm not sure if this is going to be like a true contemporary fiction, because Once There Were Wolves is the other book I read of hers that I absolutely adored, and that's a contemporary fiction. This one seems it might be like a little bit more like sci-fi-y because it's like got some climate change and stuff in it. The main character's name is Franny, and she is going to observe the Arctic terns on their what's probably going to be their last migration to Antarctica. From the Arctic to Antarctica. And so I don't know anything about Arctic terns and whether or not they are currently still migrating. So I don't know if this is like near future feel. All I know is that Once There Were Wolves is extremely disturbing and messes with your head, but it was also the best book I read in 2021. So if you don't mind a lot of trigger warnings, which I'm sure these will have too, and I'll let you know after I read it, then you should read something like that because it'll really like make you think about it for 6 months. And I hope this makes me think about it for 6 months. Then completely different on the contemporary fiction spectrum, I got Winter Solstice by Ellen Hilderbrand. I've only ever read Hotel Nantucket by her, which I read this summer and really liked. And I felt like this might be a fun thing for me to read in December as sort of like an unwind book. It's not going to be super sad, I hope, or emotional. It'll just be something that's like nice and cozy to read. It's about a family all getting together for the holidays for the first time in a lot of years. It says one of them has just come back from Afghanistan, but it seems like that might be hard, obviously. And then one of them's just gotten married. One is, I think, out of prison, because it says Patrick is getting back on his feet after paying his debt to society. Ava's found the love of her life. Kelly is thrilled to see the family reunited. But there's going to be like family upheavals. This sounds like it's going to be just like a fun family story around the holidays. So I'm looking forward to it. All right. You may have noticed that I did not have a section on thrillers, and that's because I'm currently reading The Broken Girls. I can see it right over there. Yeah, The Broken Girls by Simone St. James, which was my only thriller that I had like on my TBR. But I have not picked out my book of the month picks for November yet because they haven't released the list at this time. If I remember, right here I'll put in a clip of me picking out my November picks. Hello, good morning. It's Halloween. It's insanely dark. I have no makeup on. And you can hear my children, and I'm not going to try to get them to go away because it'll be impossible. Book of the month just released the picks. I'm going to open it up right now. I don't know how to like record my screen, and I'm not going to figure it out this morning because obviously it's Halloween. I have 8,000 things to do. I'm going to log in. I'll put up pretty pictures right here and let you know what I buy. I have 5 credits right now because people keep signing up and using my link, and I love it. Thank you. You guys are the best. Let's see. Okay, well, I love the cover of the first one. It's We Are the Light. It's contemporary fiction by Matthew Quick. I've never heard of him. In this moving tale of hope and redemption, an unlikely film production brings together a small town racked with grief. Okay, maybe. Let's see the next one. Ooh, the next one is Magical Realism, The Wilder Women by Ruth Emmy Lang. The cover is phenomenal. That seems like something I might like. One sister can see the future, the other people's memories. Together, can they unravel their mother's disappearance? That is a very high contender for me. I really hope you can't hear my kids as loudly as I can. Next is a thriller, which I do really want to get some thrillers. The Last Party by Claire McIntosh. Nobody likes the reflection in Mirror Lake when a dead body bobs to the surface and starts unveiling all their secrets. That sounds good too. The next one is White Horse, and it's horror, and I'm not going to read a horror book, so sorry, though the cover is gorgeous. Next is literary fiction Someday Maybe by Anyi. I'm not going to be able to pronounce her last name. It's Nwabineli. Prep the tissues. This emotional, devastatingly frank account of grief's many faces will have you in your feelings. I don't want to read anything about grief right now because of personal stuff, so I'm not going to read that one. Okay. I'm not going to read the horror one. The thriller looked good. The magical realism looked good. And the contemporary fiction looked pretty good. I have a child coming in. I have to pause. Okay, before I pick, I am going to look and see if there are any add-ons this month that are new that I don't have. The Cloisters. Oh, I wanted that so badly. I talked about that already, I think, in this video. Yes, I'm so excited that that's a add-on. Okay, so I'm definitely going to get The Cloisters. I can't wait. Okay, yay! Do I want to get 2 books or 3 books? Maybe I'll get 3 books. All right, I'm going to read about the Wilder Women. Non-linear. I like that they do these like good to know parts because you can find from there whether or not you want to read it. Non-linear timeline, a puzzle, a road trip, and siblings. I really like sibling stories a lot. Okay, I think I'm going to get this one. I always look at the sample and read the first couple sentences. Nora Wilder was supposed to be a bird. That's a great first sentence. At least that's what she thought when she looked at herself in the mirror and saw arms where wings should be. The closest she actually came to flying was when her younger daughter, Finn, slipped from her grasp and sprinted toward a busy street. Nora swooped down on the toddler and Finn's tiny body began to tremble in her arms. Okay, I really like that. Let's get that one. All right, I'm going to get that one, and then I'm going to decide whether or not I'm also going to get The Last Party. Let's see. Oh, nope. See, here's the thing I really like. It's 400 plus pages, and lately I'm having such a hard time focusing when I'm reading long books. So I haven't been doing 400 page plus pages books on books that I'm not like super familiar with the author. So let's see what the contemporary fiction. We Are the Light by Matthew Quick. Emotional, quirky, inspirational, and underdog. I don't know. Actually, I'm thinking no for this. Okay. So here's the other thing. So I know I'm going to get The Wilder Women by Ruth M. Lang. I'm going to get The Cloisters, which I'm going to put in my cart right now. Add $2. I can't wait to read that. And then, because I have 5 credits, I just finished reading The Broken Girls by Simone St. James last night. I loved it. So I know she's had several books in here for book of the month. So I'm going to get another one of her books. Let me do a quick search. So she's got The Sundown Motel and The Book of Cold Cases. I think I want to read The Book of Cold Cases. A perfect read for every true crime fan who suspected they might just get to the bottom of things better than the pros. I'm not a big true crime listener. Like, I don't listen to podcasts like that, but I do enjoy like a good true crime documentary. So I think I might like that. Oh, 1977. Also, I like the 70s, the Lady Killer murders. Okay, that sounds good. Let's look at the other one I don't have, which is The Sundown Motel. Oh, that's a horror. No, thank you. Okay. Let's get that. Let's get The Book of Cold Cases and call it a box. All right. So I've got The Wilder Women, which is magical realism, The Book of Cold Cases, which is a thriller, and The Cloisters, which I think was down as a gothic fiction, which is totally not like my normal. That's so weird because I also got Small Angels. I can't remember who wrote it. Hold on, it's right here. Lauren Owen wrote it, and that was a gothic fiction, and I haven't read, other than those, I haven't read gothic fiction in like ages, but I'm going to have 2 this year. That's kind of nuts, but I really want to read this. I'm back on the Cloisters page, and I'm going to really quickly read the first couple sentences. Death always visited me in August. A slow and delicious month we turned into something swift and brutal. The change quick as a card trick. I love it. I should have seen it coming, the way the body would be laid out on the library floor, the way the gardens would be torn apart by the search, the way our jealousy, greed, and ambition were waiting to devour us all like a snake eating its own tail. Oh my word. Okay, I'm definitely getting that book. That sounds phenomenal. Okay, so there you go. Let's get back to my regular scheduled video. All right, let's jump back to me right now. I will pick at least one thriller in November or December, or a mystery type book, hopefully. I do like reading mysteries. They are a genre that I don't like follow other than what book of the month tells me to read. One of my good friends does read a lot of mysteries and thrillers. One reads a ton of cozy mysteries, which isn't really my cup of tea. The other reads a lot of thrillers, and she will sometimes recommend them to me, but her stuff that she reads is kind of a little bit too dark for me sometimes. So usually I get my thriller recommendations from Book of the Month, and I've been very happy with what I've gotten from them this year. So I'm guessing I'll pick one of those in November and maybe another one in December. I also have several add-on credits right now. I think I have 2 extra credits. So that means I could get an add-on in November and an add-on in December if I feel like it. Not bad, right? And lastly, you might see a lot of interior design books on my wrap-ups. You're definitely going to see a ton on my October wrap-up because I'm reading several right now. But I am reorganizing my house right now because my kids are getting older and the way our house is set up for more like toddlers isn't working very well for us anymore. And so I've been reading a ton of interior design books, and some of them have been very good. So they'll be in my wrap-ups, and I assume I just go to the library for these. I went to the library 2 days ago and got 8 because those books are expensive. It's nice to just go to the library and get a bunch. So I assume on at least my November wrap up, you'll get a lot of those also. And hopefully on my November wrap up, these walls will be white. We'll see though. What book are you most excited for to read in the last 2 months of the year? And do you keep track of how many books you read? And are you close to your goal? My goal for the year was 70 books, which I already passed, but I always give myself a goal I know I'll hit because I'm extremely competitive. So my real personal goal is 100, but I don't think I'm going to hit it. I think I'm going to hit in the low 90s, but we'll see. Maybe I'll surprise myself. Maybe I'll get super into middle grade graphic novels and just destroy a dozen books that way. If you're still watching, thank you so much for hanging out. And please, in the comments, drop me the emoji of your favorite end of year holiday. Are you a Halloween person? Are you a Thanksgiving person? Are you Christmas, Hanukkah, winter solstice, New Year, whatever? Give me an emoji of the holiday of your choice. And as always, I hope you were in the middle of a good book, about to start reading a good book, or about to start writing a great book. I'll see you soon.